Okay. We are unmuted. Right. Hey, morning everybody. I will open up our Koukou Transport and Infrastructure Committee meeting with our council pre. Kei noi tātou. Ka tuku mātou ka kaha mai ngā māngai ko whiriwhiri hia mo te kainihira o te iku o tika mai me te ngākakaha me te hakamahi ngā whiwhinga me ngā tauranga I roto I ngā wānanga me ngā hakataunga kia haka tūri ai te tahi hapori e mata tika ana e tūkotahi ana kamutu ka whakapiki anō I te oranga o tō tātou rohe ka katau anō I ngā tasi o te rohe I We ask that through council discussions and decisions, the representatives we have elected may govern the final district with imagination, skill and wisdom to achieve a fairer and more united community that enhances the well-being of our district and solves the district's problems efficiently and effectively. Amen. I'll just move apologies please for Councillor Peretoi Kleskovich and Councillor Tamati Rakina, attended by the Mayor. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed or abstentions, that is carried. Just quickly by way of mayoral announcements. Today is Kore Kore Piri Ki Tangaroa. It's a cusp phase for some high energy to come, which is good, but we'll see how our meetings go today. Also, because this is our Transport Committee meeting, I both last week, the past 2 weekends, I was back home in North Hokianga, and our West Coast Road, including Runuruna Road, which is the link up to Pawaringa and Kaitaia, I've never seen them better in my entire life. And my auntie who was with me, who was a little bit older, she also was freaking out at the state of how great the road was. And I was ready because she was driving us, and I was ready and I had my phone ready to go, and I was like, okay, we're going to record this bloody road and get ready to send all my RFSs in. And it was fantastic. So it's really great. And I think it had been graded like 2 weeks before, and there had been quite a bit of rain, but the road was still in such an awesome condition. That was 2 weekends ago, and then this weekend just gone by is still looking really great. So whatever we're doing, we need to keep it up, more of that, which is really great. Now our sealed road itself, that's another story, the Broadwood Awaroa Road. Oh my goodness, that was like Rainbow's End. I don't know that it's a big piece of work to actually get that stated, but I just thought I'd pass it on. I made it back home from the Wild West of North Hokianga alive because the road was in such a good condition. So very good, and there were a lot of kaupapa on, so a lot more traffic than usual grew on our roads. We'll jump into our meeting proper now, and we'll go to item 4.1 on page 10, which is the confirmation of previous minutes. It's being moved by our deputy mayor, if I can get a seconder. I think that's the research. Deputy Mayor Stratton. Anything like that for? No. Councillor research. Any other members? That's a vote. All in favour say aye. Those opposed or abstentions, that's carried. We'll now go to our transport portfolio members report on page 17. Basically with that we note verbal September report from now I've got something in front of me here as well that's going to be taken today, I'm guessing. I will move this item like in a second. We might go to you first, Councillor Court.
Thank you, Mayor Marco. As you know, I took myself off to the Building Nations conference in Auckland. This is my report back from that conference. I really recommend it. I would suggest that we put it on the formal meeting calendar each time. There were 900 people at the conference. Before anybody has a cardiac arrest, I self-funded, so I won't be invoicing the ratepayer for it. But I thought there were some really good slides there, so I took some pictures. Sorry, I wasn't sitting in the best place to get really good pictures of some of the slides on the overhead. But if you turn on to the last page, I thought those two slides were particularly interesting in relation to where the revenue perspective and where total spend is tracking. Particularly that one was you to peruse at your leisure. Two other things I just wish to raise. We met last week. We had our first working group meeting on new contracts. For organising that. It was really just a meet and greet and familiar and set the groundwork for moving forward. So we're going to meet fortnightly and invite people in on a needs basis to contribute to that working group. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was Tom Frost came and spoke to the community board, and he talked about automatic road inspection technology. So I followed up with him on that, and he sent me an email, and I'll just read it to you. We met with the current provider of the automatic road inspection tool platform. We discussed in some detail our high-level requirements. They are currently working on a proposal for a proof of concept, specifically for the Farming District Council. This will include cost, outcomes, deployment. I'm expecting this information to be made available towards the end of September, early October. I will then review and collate relevant information and share accordingly with the relevant party in council. So I forwarded that to Rob, and you were going to follow up with. Did you manage to do that?
Yes, I did.
That's it from me.
Thank you. We'll go over to Councillor McNally online then.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
What do
Can
you
you
know?
hear me all right?
Yeah, we got you.
Great. Hey, this is an infrastructure meeting. Why are we going to have a reporting from all the infrastructure portfolio holders, water, wastewater, etc.?
I think with the change in the scope of this committee, actually that would be a sensible idea to have a standing paper for water as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I probably won't talk too long because my voice is just about buggered anyway. Yeah, in relation to the meeting we had last night with Rob, Tanya, and Vic, and who was the other fellow? Someone. Yeah, quite good to have a catch up and just work on what is being worked on or get an understanding of it. The focus over the last month or so has been checking all jobs previously scheduled, making sure they need doing. And for example, a reseal, if they can be delayed, so this year's roading budget can be applied to more urgent work, such as dig out and rehab, then that will happen, is my understanding. And the concept Rob's pushing there is to positive incremental improvement with the restricted budget we currently have, try to catch up on that huge infrastructure deficit we have. The contractors have been working on, as you would have seen, the roads you've been driving at the weekend, Moko, just on wide grading, clearing culverts, and yeah, there's a lot of that work happening down around here, and the same thing of the roads I've driven, those that have been done, they're doing a good job. Clearing culverts, just checking ends and whatever. Main thing is actually just to find them, see what needs doing, and then we'll carry on with some further drainage work as it dries out a bit. Also some shoulders of the seal roads. You'll might see some of the shoulders have been basically graded into the drain, and that's just for rehab for a resale coming up. So it's all part of a program of work. As far as the information that Anne's put up there relating to the National Land Transport Fund, you're very happy with the GPS alteration to the National Land Transport Fund. And yeah, there was a lot of work went into that over the last couple of years to get that changed via the Regional Transport Plan, and yeah, just lobbying really, central government. The challenge now is to have the work streams planned with the priority schedule to ensure we spend all the money available, given that we've carried forward a heap as well. So my push will be on procurement, make sure we've got the resources, quarry aggregate. If the crusher is going into a remote area, make sure we crush enough in that area that'll be utilised over the next 6 or 8 months, and contractor capacity. And I know that Rob, Vic and Kevin was the other man, Kevin Hoskin, are all working on that in that regard. So looking forward to seeing continued improvement, and Rob will update us sometime in the next couple of months on just exactly what we're doing, where, and what from there. But yeah, very pleasing so far. Thank you.
Thank you for that. If you open up to members, councillor Research.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Steve. It's also great to hear from Koukou in his infrastructure report too. I know about the state of our roads and how they've improved. So well done there. But just some questions, and thank you, Anne, for this Building Nations Conference report. That looks really good. I think, where it says unfairness, current system is based on fuel consumption, not actual road usage. That's only petrol cars, all the issues by usage. But that's not too much of a worry for me. What is a worry is some of these graphs can be misleading. And for example, there is the last one, transport and hospital. I'm not sure what it's trying to show. Is it showing that our transportation costs are running away with us, or that we're under investing in hospitals? You see, that's what I mean. Like making a comparison is not a good thing to do, in my view. I'd like to see values for roads available money in roading, and it says significant cost increase in recent years. And of course, this is what you're just reporting what's been said. I wouldn't mind it being challenged. And other new country, new infrastructure, and it shows going back to where it was, 18 and something, and showing, then it makes a statement that this was 50, 80, 90%, is it 90% of our infrastructure built since 1950. And then over half has been built since in the last 20 decades. I can't think of any new roads that we've had in the last 3 decades. I do know there's a lot of maintenance costs going on. So that's what I mean. I'm just giving those examples. No criticism of you, Councillor Court, but it's it's a little bit, can be misleading. And it doesn't need to be inflation adjusted as well. So with inflation adjusted and actually put the number, not the cost. And we can write it down. That's not before. I heard Winston, which last thing I'll say, mention that in the first 10 years, more rails will be built. Most of the rail was built in the last 130 years thereafter. That doesn't Muslim cars. So yeah, let's actually compare actual kilometres and things we can do.
Thank you. Were you on a career council research? Can I just quickly, so the one that we're talking about, the graph there, the transport versus hospital per capita, is that per capita, is that per population? But it's not by user, right? Because the probably all $5.5 million, 5.5 million New Zealanders would use road, but not all 5.5 million New Zealanders need to use a hospital. Is that what per capita funding?
The infrastructure building nations conference, it wasn't a roadie conference. So we're not just talking about roads here. So if you look on the side, it's got your investment per capita index, it shows you on the. So what they were trying to indicate is how much money per capita, how much dollars per capita is being spent on transport, and that is squeezing other priorities down the list, such as hospitals.
Yeah, good point.
And I just wanted to respond to the RUC because that's going to come up. And I've got mixed view on that. I did put on it in here. Chris Bishop spoke at some length about moving to a RUC-based funding regime. I have real concerns about that, and I'd like our council to consider making a submission on that when it falls due. At the moment, through Fed, you have no choice but to pay. When it comes to RUC, people will go in the system and they won't pay. And I've got anecdotal evidence, and it is only anecdotal evidence, and I've forwarded it to the minister, and I've asked him to please make further inquiry. That some of their cameras are picking up that up to 20% of vehicles going through are not legally meant to be on the road. So if there's a 20% of vehicles not legally meant to be on the road, 20% of vehicles potentially not paying RUC, that's a 20% deficit in the budget moving forward. So I have written to our local MP and the Mayor Brown and said, is there a way of validating some data so we can understand what that might mean? So once we have some empirical evidence, then I think we probably need to consider whether we as an organisation make a submission when this comes out for public consultation.
I agree. I will go to Councillor McNally.
Thank you. Just on the couple of things, we're going to be lobbying government, have a crack at them again. The tolling. The North, we're paying for that bloody toll, we have forever. And in that same time period, we've seen expressways extended in the Bay of Plenty, Waikato, Wellington, Christchurch, and they don't get tolled. I just think that's an anomaly. And even if it was $1 a trip, 50 cents a trip, it wouldn't matter. It doesn't need to be much, but it would make quite a difference. I also think the government made a massive mistake removing the Auckland fuel tax. That was put in there for a specific purpose of improving not only the roading but also the public transport and some of those other ways around the countryside there. That's added a huge burden to the NLTF funding model, or lack of funding now. And the other thing I just forgot to put in my report, the intersection Broadway and Mangakahia Road. Joe Carr's asked me to bring it up at this level. We'll be mentioning it at the Transport Committee next week. Looking at just doing a very simple, it's basically a concrete mound in the middle of the road with some give way signs so that traffic coming out of Mangakahia, particularly our heavies, which have to go around the bypass. And you'll notice now that a lot of those trucks actually come straight down through Broadway because it's too hard for them to get out again. Mangakahia, if they're coming from the Hokianga. And just a simple mound, a little bit of painting on the road, a couple of giveaway signs so traffic has to slow down. And then trucks, I came down there the other day and a truck pulled out. There's about 3 cars in front of me. If I've got a bit of room, I slow road down and hold traffic up so they can go. But yeah, it is a problem. It probably doesn't seem busy. I doubt the traffic engineers will think it's necessary, but I'd suggest they jump in a truck with a truckie that's been sitting there for 5 minutes and they'll find how necessary it is by the language. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just add some
Yes, Councillor Court.
current toll on the Orewa to Pilbury Road? The initial loan was 158 million. The toll is paid in full 2039. But for 2039, we should have the second leg. So we won't be paying that toll indefinitely. I can remember, because I am that old, going over the Harbour Bridge and having to stop at a toll booth and pay across the Harbour Bridge. And once we paid that off, we stopped paying. Right now, there is the government that's consulting on tolls across the country. I don't know if anyone saw the story in the Herald this morning. Tauranga is kicking up quite a fuss. They're saying they've been unfairly penalised because they have got 2 of the 3 current toll roads and are expecting to pay for the 3rd. But concurrently, the Crown is consulting on tolling Otaki to Levin and Transmission Gully. So there's a lot of work still to be done in this space.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, we'll move that to a vote. All in favour say aye. Those opposed to abstentions, that's carried. I forgot to mention, sorry, and to welcome Warren, who is in chambers today from Fulton Hogan. And I believe you will be doing a workshop with us at our next meeting on the 29th of October. So great to have you in chambers today. And we have a chat in the break or something like that too, but just so that our colleagues online know that you're in here. And now they might not be as disparaging in the commentary as maybe they would if they didn't know you. All right, we'll go to item 6.1 on page 18. This is a district facilities update. If I could get a move for this, please. Thank you, Councillor Kappa, and seconded by Deputy Mayor Stratford. Councillor Kappa.
Nothing.
Deputy Mayor Stratford.
Just, I'm not sure if anybody's here to answer this, but I wanted to take the opportunity to check where the Kitty dump station is at, and just get some assurance that will be dealt with. Kitty wastewater treatment plant is a civil site. How are we going with that? Is it going to be done in time for all the camper vans coming? Because the Koukou, it's super busy and we don't even go and clean it. We're like next to the bowling club in Koukou. There's erosion happening and we've never done any maintenance there. It's just terrible. And how long before that one gets shut down? And we're facing having another one missing from our network. It's really crucial for our tourism industry if we get that camper van dump site addressed in Kitty.
Any comments here?
Yes, thank you. I think it's still going. But it do have. Sorry. So you're a bit stressed about it. So we're currently investigating the old Kitty wastewater treatment plant site. I think logistically that makes more sense for bigger vehicles. There was an option, or still is an option, to bring them into town. I think so as well. So we just need to consider, that might be a worst case scenario, but investigating any consents that are required for the old Kitty treatment plant site. I think that kind of takes those vehicles out of town, offers a sealed surface. It's straight up to the plant from there. But we'll be doing our best to try and get those one in Kitty installed before.
That's Shepherd Road.
Yes.
Yeah, so it doesn't really deal with the traffic issue that we have of, direct bringing more heavy vehicles down Kitty Road and into Cobham and then further down to around Shepherd. Is there any opportunity to put it, like out further, like
Out of town?
Yeah.
Or, it would need to be where the reticulation is.
Yeah.
So I understand that the team have looked at a number of sites and considering access and size of vehicles that those two, one is behind Repco or at the old Kitty treatment plant. So
Right in town.
yes.
I'll just go to myself to see like that I can do that. And then I've got Councillor Foy, Chair.
Just the same subject.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And also just, I can just see Belinda has put in their partnership consideration with the New Zealand
Motor Caravan Association.
Can I just raise two concerns that I'd like the staff to consider in relation to using the old Kitty wastewater treatment plant site? When that plant was built in 1989, it was with the social licence of the adjoining landowners. And the access way is actually theirs, not ours, it's theirs. And that was okay because we were only sending in technical staff once a day to service the plant and occasionally sending in technical staff out. But if we open it up to the public, what we are in essence saying is the public can go onto somebody else's driveway. And I think that might be lawful competition. So I'd like you to take that back to whoever is investigating that, because the neighbours were very incredibly gracious with us for over 30 years while we sought a permanent solution for Kerikeri, and it did cause them a lot of problems. The second thing, that is an incredibly dangerous intersection, and we would need to consider the impact of sending large vehicles into that intersection and out of that intersection on a regular basis. So can we have a traffic impact assessment? Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to Councillor Foy, just some commentary for you and your team, Tanya. While I appreciate the update because we're always wanting information, I think that this is lacking in the amount of information it contains for us at a governance level, or we need something else besides this public agenda to keep us in the loop. Now, we just approved, what was it, $50 million in carry forward, of which 20 mil was rating related, so 30 mil was not rating related. What this doesn't tell me is whether each of these projects are for the current year, are there any tie-overs, where they're at, they're gonna be finished in time. There's no, even at a bare minimum, I remember on the old, what was that old report we used to get once a month from the Purchase team?
Infrastructure.
The IAMS report.
Yeah.
On our IAMS report, each one of these would come with a traffic light, so that would know if it was green or orange or red and be able to question. Getting it like this makes everything feel orange to me because I don't actually know. If this is great, we've got stuff going on, but is it a year late from when it was supposed to be done? Or is it early? I don't even know. So I appreciate that we're getting some information, but I don't know if this is everything that was in the annual plan or the long-term plan that should be here, or if there's anything missing or anything like that. Now, it says there are no financial implications or need for budgetary provisions because it's all budgeted for, but there are financial implications of where it isn't done or if it is done. So nice starter. I know at our workshop last time we talked about having Gantt charts across, for roading and all that, but also across our projects that we click into online to be able to see where it's tracking along. This one is just gives me more questions to certainty at this level around going. So just thought I'd raise that for the next time we get reporting back on this, but definitely want to make sure that we are getting. Thank you for having something in our agenda today. We'll go to Councillor Foy.
Thank you, Mayor Moko. My question was around the point about Lake Ohia Hall at the top of page 19, and then also on page 20 where it talks about Awanui Hall. Awanui Hall is highlighted to have health and safety concerns about the hall, and that staff had done a site visit. But then it says about Lake Ohia Hall that that staff have said that they want to spend budget that's available on Lake Ohia Hall instead of having that decision to spend the money on Awanui Hall, which is a health and safety issue. Also, this matter about the halls hasn't come to the community board to get their direction about what they think should be done to the halls. I'm not actually sure what works are proposed at Lake Ohia Hall and if the community board is supportive of that or not. But what I would like to see is for any budget that's available to address health and safety issues in Awanui. And I think it's really a concern that staff operationally are making decisions about moving budgets for level of service funding without actually having approval from at least the community board, let alone the council. Is there any narrative from staff about how these decisions are made about the halls and about having governance direction from at least the community board towards those? Thank you.
Through the chair, councillor Foy, two separate issues, Awanui and Lake Ohia. I've relatively recently had conversations with the team about Lake Ohia and the options there. Our suggestion is that a conversation come through Te Koukou in a workshop environment, and also, as you say, to community board to suggest a reallocation of funding towards Lake Ohia. I think we really need to decide whether we invest money, put money into an existing structure, or with the community and community boards, consider rebuilding that and getting a new facility for potentially the same amount of money. So that's something that needs to happen. Second part of Awanui, when we looked at the long-term plan, the three criteria that we all looked at was storm recovery, health, safety and compliance, and projects that were in flight and ready to be delivered. At that point, Awanui wasn't. With the annual plan process about to commence as well, consideration should also be given to the same criteria. If there is an ability, if there's any health and safety issues and or ability to deliver a project and upgrade an asset to a fit for purpose standard, then my suggestion to the team is that we put Awanui in particular forward as part of that annual plan process.
Can I, before we go to Chair Board, just raise that community halls are a delegation to our community boards. So it's not us making a decision and then getting them to sign off. It's them actually giving that in front of them first, and we're signing off on what they've decided. So it needs to be in that order. We'll go to Chair Ward.
Kia ora moko. Just on the issue of back to the dump station, for quite some time now, I don't know if it's this council, but the previous council anyway, talking about partnering with NZMCA. If you go onto their website, they have throughout New Zealand actually partnered with sites, and they have an amazing design. They've done all the work, it's all there. Go in and have a look at it. You just need water and wastewater, which is the issue for disposal, I guess. But I don't think we should just be looking at the old site that we have. I think we should be looking at our reserves. We need to look at the designs that they're offering, and they'll put them in. They'll probably pay for them, fund them for free if we provide some land. So I can see it doesn't have to be in Kirikiri. It doesn't even need to be in Kirikiri. Really. It might be outside of Kirikiri in another township or village. But people are going to have to be prepared to travel for these facilities. But I do feel, that the state of the art, easy wash down, they're just look into it. It's fabulous. And secondly, on the hall issue, Felicity, thank you for bringing that up. In our ward area at the moment, we've got 3 halls that need attention. Waipapa is not on the list, and it is the highest priority following on from our board meeting last week. So they have moisture issues there, and it's quite serious. So we do need to workshop with community boards. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
You there, Mayor Moko?
Yep, we'll go over to Councillor Radich.
Yeah, question. Is the Awanui Hall a council hall?
Through the chair, yes it is. Yes it is. I think the one that Councillor Foy is referring to.
Yeah. There's only one hall in Awanui.
Sorry, I missed that.
There's only one hall
in Awanui.
Oh, I better double check that I'm on the right facility.
Well, quite a few years ago, the Awanui Hall got into financial difficulties, and the council bailed them out. Had said, right, this is your hall now. It's all yours. And this was led by a great woman, Sue Hodge. She was in charge. and we just gave it to the Aoni committee and said, that's it. Your hall, anything happens, you fix it up. And now I see it's back on the agenda and it's now a council hall.
Through the chair, the asset is still showing on our fixed asset register, and we have been collecting depreciation funds for that. So if it was intended to be divested a number of years ago, it doesn't appear that that process has been finalised in our asset register.
Oh, well, forget it. Forget it.
I can see someone else's hand is up, but I can't see their little circle.
I don't.
Chair Gardner.
Thank you so much, Me Moko. Our board has been asking for a halls report for some time now, and I'd like to see on that report the numbers, what hall has level of service, what hall has work to be done on it, and the numbers, and this will probably help form the discussion around the halls and everything. So I'm hoping that report will come to our board in the next month or so. I've been asking for it for some time, so please bring it on. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We'll go back to Councillor Koukou for reply if wishes. Oh, sorry, we'll go to Chair Rankin.
Sorry, I would appreciate a halls report as well. I'm unaware of any of the Horeke toilet, the Kaiho Hall, or the Park being brought to the community board. So just some more detail around that communicated to us would be great, please. I'm worried about the word divestment in there in terms of Limbark Park, and would just like the opportunity to talk through some of that at a community board level, please.
Thank you for that. All right, Councillor Kapa.
I have not much to add, Kaika. I was just wanting to ask around on page 19, 1.2, working toilet. It's subject to carry forwards. But is it large carry forwards?
Through the mayor, it's the amount of money that was in the council carry forward report. It's not a large amount of money. It's just that we can't spend or engage any contractors until the carry forwards had formally been approved. And that has happened now. So now we can progress.
You know, on through the trail, there's quite a lot of activity happening in that area. And just the other one was just around the last bullet point on page 19. It talks about the kitty caravan and vertical pump station. But really what I was just wanting to highlight, not necessarily kitty, but Koukou has caravan and motor home location, which is currently up at the AMP stadium up there, whether or not there's been any consideration to relocate it in the future.
If I'm aware of, I don't think that's not council facility. So I understand, I'm happy to stand corrected, but that the AMP committee allow people to stay there and then they would come to town because there's no wastewater system up there. Then they would come to town and then discharge at our facility here.
All right, we'll put that to the right. All in favour say aye. The proposed sections that is carried. We're going to item 6.2 on page 21. Our open resolutions update. Is on second. Deputy Mayor Pickford. Right, so sorry, we'll go to Councillor McNally.
Thank you. These seem to relate mostly to the wastewater treatment plants around the place. And there's one to do with the speed or something. But the wastewater treatment plants, I notice in there, there's been working groups set up with terms of reference. I don't believe I've heard from any one of them. So if if I'm incorrect there, but Kaitaia Ahipara is mentioned. I know there's a working group relating to the Taipa wastewater disposal to land option. Haven't heard any. Well, I know it's there from the locals, but I've never heard anything from that working group. Can I have an update on that, please? What are they doing? Are they still engaged? Because those ones around Koukou and Kaitaia relate back to 2021, 3 years ago now. Can I just get an update on, well, there's two questions. Do they have any value? Do we pay any attention to them? I'll start with those two. Thanks.
Through the chair, happy to update regularly on each of those moving forward. I would 100% say that they add value. The ones that we do have very free and frank conversations. They are fundamentally partnerships with hapu representatives who help us. We work through conditions, proposed conditions where we need to update plants. We
need that information fed back to us.
Okay.
And I think that was raised at our last Te Koukou committee as well. That and our Notokianga working group, that we should have updates come through this on a similar agenda. And is it going to be another month or another month or another month? And that's not our job as governors to write these. There needs to be operational staff who are sitting in on these, who summarise it and put it on the report for us to come back. Right, that's sorry.
If
Sorry, we'll go to Councillor Kappa.
in just in reference to Councillor McNally has brought up, I know that there's some real positive work that's been happening, particularly with the Koukou. I'd really like that to be highlighted in here so that it is updating everybody in council, but it's also updating our hapu and iwi as well with the good work that's been happening and how the wastewater has been addressed out there. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Councillor McNally's hand is up there.
Thanks for the support there, Councillor Kappa. Yeah, I just think if we're going to have those working groups, we need that feedback to come back up to this table or disband them.
Thank you. And Deputy Minister Shepford.
Yeah, totally agree, Councillor McNally. But I do want to just remind everyone that we did have one of them present to us before we made a decision on the Koukou wastewater treatment plant consent upgrade. They did a presentation to us. I don't know if it was in workshop form or deputation. I think it was workshop. So I encourage staff to seek a pathway for all those working groups to come and, share with us what, how it's going, what they're seeking from council in the future, so that when it comes to making a decision, we've heard from them. But I also want to reiterate, because
I think we pushed back on something coming to the table and
I was just going to mention, it's not just wastewater treatment plants. We've got assets out there that we own, and we've got Koukou, looking after them. They need to be able to come and tell council how things are going, what they see on the horizon, thinking Turner Centre, not just wastewater treatment plants, Te Pua Waitanga, the sporting codes, all those rōpū who have been dealing with staff operationally need to have a voice directly to council. Kia ora.
Kia ora. We'll put that to vote. All in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that's carried. We'll now go to item 6.3 on page 26, which is our transport activity update. I'd like you to move this, please.
Happy to move.
In a second now. Thank you, Councillor Research. And we will go to Ms. Stratford.
Yeah, just awesome to see the positive things happening. I haven't been to Burn Flat Road since our site visit that time. I'd like to know if the barrier has been put in place that we funded. And also one of my recurring themes, and I keep pushing back on, is vegetation. Staff response to health and safety, visibility, vegetation removal has been that they don't deal with, noxious weeds. That's not them. But if it's blocking visibility, and I'm constantly getting photos sent to me from drivers that are on Putaha Road saying that, this stupid tobacco weed is blocking their visibility, that must be dealt with. On Mingakaipa Road, a recurring, I think I've been contacted 3 times about this road this year. And there's an issue with power lines there. So apparently the lines are quite low and it's impacting getting maintenance vehicle to deal with it, like the grader can't go here or something. That's a big issue. Tell us what's wrong, bring us a paper, bring us more info so we can, collectively put our heads together, even with the people who live there, to try and figure out how we can address that, because there's a bus that goes on that road, and saying that we can't maintain this portion of road that the bus is going to get stuck in that's just not on. And again, vegetation visibility issue in Koukou Church Street. If you know where the primary school is, from Johnson Road around Church to Commercial Street, where all the Lovers Lane is. I mean, that's where they have no idea. How did it?
Not the Lovers Lane.
There's vegetation along there that is like the road is so narrow. The vegetation is obstructing visibility when you go around that. And some of it is on private property, some of it's on our property. We have a responsibility to make sure that people can see when they're going around that corner. So, I shouldn't have to keep lodging these RFSs. They just need to be dealt with. But I just, commend Koukou, what Moko said at the beginning, and others. Things are getting better out there. Look, I'm complaining about vegetation on the roadside. Our roads are improving, but we need to just hurry up and lift everything. Yeah, that's all. And I really appreciate the detail in these reports, as always. Thank you.
Councillor Vusic.
Yeah, I can add that I am getting less complaints about roads, and people have commented that it has been good. So it's been noted. So that's pleasing. Only really so happy to see the work being done. Only question I've got, it's coming from Fulton Hogan. I think it is page 41, where some coal placed. I was just curious, it's only been curious what that was for. Was it damaged, or was it not large enough? Because it did raise, if we put replacing culverts, maybe potentially increasing storm events or water events, we should be increasing the capacity. But we can wait till the workshop for that answer, unless someone's going to give an answer.
Question was on page
41.
41. The culvert,
Just curious, that's all.
why it was replaced, was it damaged or?
Can I please refer to Rob?
Are we talking about a specific location?
Oh, just this picture showed something replaced. And I'm just curious because I thought it's something that we should consider. And the big storm event. So I'm not sure if that's why it's being replaced or just routine replacement because of damage.
I can't tell you exactly on that specific culvert, but generally, like for like, if it's 300 mil, should be the smaller size we're putting in. We should be putting in the size that would suit the 10-year flow at least when we are replacing them. So I had a look at that one specifically for you and talk generally with the contractors about that philosophy.
Sorry for my memo court. I was just asking around third flat road barrier. But I just wonder if it's easier to ask whether we know whether that's been, no.
Okay, I am disappointed because I'm still in the dark. Not across our two big roading contracts. I love these reports, and we got one last month, got one this month. But I am disappointed in the fact that our previous transport activity update reports would give us a breakdown beyond just our two contracts. So our two big roading contracts, but our traffic safety program, Final 3, which we put on month by month until we found out what our finalised funding would be. I understand it's half, but they've still been on a contract. We still should be getting an update on what that significant amount of money, like $167,000 a month, I think, has been paid for last month and for this month's update. Nothing on here to tell me what our bang for the buck. Now I know it is good because I get to see and talking, but we still should have it on a piece of paper to show us what something that costs us 6 figures a month is doing for the people of the farm. And across that. Also wanting that should be a part of that because we need to make a decision now that we've only gotten half of the funding for that side of things through the NLTP. What are we actually going to do with our contract going forward? And are we going to have to go up to tender for a smaller thing while we're going to have to share some money over for more local sharing? So that's missing from here. What else is missing from here? Update on our slips and where they're all tracking. And, you know, we used to get the whole table with what's going on. Now it's raised at the last Te Koukou, we've got another whole calendar month and it's still not on here. And the agenda preview said, cool. This whole paper wasn't even in the agenda preview. I said it needs to be, but also we need to make sure we capture this, and this. Now, if we have got resource, if we're low on resource to be able to be generating all of these different things, then it needs to be highlighted to us or highlighted to our chief executive, because we have an expectation that that is coming to us. And if it's not coming to us because of resource and there's a decision we need to play in that, then let us know. It's for other reasons we also need to know. But I don't know if I'll be able to have next year. Lucky I'm not going to be here for the next one, because if it's missing from another month, then it's going to be 3 whole months. That's a quarter of the year. That's still lacking the information I require to do my job. And this is one example across myriad of different things in this organisation that I am lacking information as the Mayor of the Far North to do my job. If I can't do my job, do you know who holds me accountable? The people of the Far North. If you don't do your job in this organisation, who's supposed to hold you accountable? Actually, no. It will all still come back to me and my colleagues that sit around this table, because we're the ones who are held accountable to the people of the Far North. And if we don't have the information to back us up for us to do our jobs, then what? So just a little bit hoha. This is an example, specific example I'm using to show that hoha, but I expect better. Anyone else? We'll go to Councillor Foy and then Councillor Court.
Thanks, Member Moore. And I can see Belinda's got her hand up if she wanted to say something, or if she can take him down. Thanks. So my questions were just relating to the Fulton Hogan report. It was great to see that they had done the vegetation removal, you know, across, you know, huge amount of the area. But what I had a question about was, why aren't we spraying after we are doing vegetation removal? Essentially, I thought that would be commonplace, that they would do the mulching or do the, you know, clearing of the vegetation on the roadside, then they would spray it so it stays down lower for many months to come. Why is that not normalized as part of our practice for a council, or is that just, or do we not spray anymore? Or I guess the question is, when do we spray and how is that part of the contract or not? So that was one question I had. The other question I had was around it's got on page 36 the SME and subcontractor summary. And one of the people there are T8 Traffic Management. On the road out to Aipara the other day, Kaitai Awaroa Road, they had a huge amount of traffic management on a 50-kilometre road. There was 3 trucks and there was 2 traffic lights and there was about 50 cones. And I was just following up from what Rob had said previously, that our council's going to move to a risk-based traffic management model where we only put out the traffic management that we need based on the risk. So I would query how that has been monitored or how that's been reported on either in this subcontractor summary or on some other type of reporting specifically in this report, because based on what I've seen from a layperson about traffic management, that was really excessive in a 50k area, and that was just this week. So I'm not sure if behaviours have changed or not for the traffic management. I hope that that message is being made clear. The other question I had around this report is mainly to Rob and Tanya relating to our Forward Works program. What I would really like to see is actually what work is going forward into the summer season so that we can do that work now before it turns into big ruts during the summer season that we can't fix. So in terms of that Forward Works program with the metalling, I'm not sure what's in this Fulton Hogan report for the metalling that was done as part of heavy metalling to build up the base course on certain roads to address that, or essentially if there's any method in what's been done in this report to address the forward planning of the structural elements of whichever roads across the district. Thanks.
Well, I can't answer who.
Can I please defer to you, Rob?
Um,
Or Makali?
Okay, yeah, thank you. A couple of things in there. The traffic management changes haven't been implemented yet. There's a lot of discussion as to exactly what they might mean and how risk transfer might actually be affected. Generally, the market's been looking to NZTA to make some moves in respect of how the state highway might be managed, and then local government will potentially follow that. The risk transfer element is obviously significant. If we ask a contractor to reduce the traffic control, obviously they've got concerns about safety of people and they may well want to either transfer that risk or not reduce the traffic. So control. There are a number of national groups that have been set up to discuss this, but as far as I'm aware, nothing has changed yet. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to sort out. So we will stay on top of that and look and discuss with our contractors perhaps some trials, but right now that's still a work in progress. As far as the metalling programs go, there's been, as you will have noticed, there's been quite a lot of work in the north and south on increasing the structural integrity of unsealed roads. Those roads have been selected through their use and their potential use in the future. We are about to start the process of developing an unsealed road strategy, which will be a multi-year strategy that tries to put a bit more structure around how those roads are selected and perhaps put in place a multi-year upgrade program that includes all elements of those unsealed roads, some going right through to sealed, some not. So that's something that's on the program. Does that answer all those questions?
Yeah, I guess on that last point, Rob, is that from that $2 million of unsubsidised, or is that subsidised work as well? I think what my concern is like we're in September. You know, if we don't plan it now to be delivered over the construction season, are we going to miss that opportunity to spend, you know, to forward plan to spend that money, and then it's winter time again, so we've missed a whole construction season? That was my concern.
So, no, wait for the construction season. We have already undertaken a significant amount of work and spent quite a lot of of the unsealed road budget on upgrading those pavements. It will be subsidised work, not unsubsidised. So I guess to try and give you the confidence of the program, as I say, we have completed quite a lot of the program already, and we will make sure that we don't miss the construction season.
I'll go to Councillor Koukou.
Thank you. I'm sure you answered the vegetation question. You might want to come back to that one. Spraying for Councillor Boyd. One of the things that we talked about when we had our first meeting of the working group was the quality of the reports that are coming back to elected members, and are we getting the information that we need? And that got me thinking about, this is a hindsight glance, these reports. I like them, but they are hindsight glance and they're not telling me where we're going. And so, for example, if you go to the, sorry, I just don't know which report I'm on, the year report on page 44 of the paper agenda, it says, we are preparing to start our pre-seal repair program in September. Do elected members want to know what that is, what that looks like? Or are we just happy with one sentence? We talked in the report about drainage maintenance and renewal. For example, 720 grates were cleared, 58 culvert markers were failed. How does that relate back to the contract? Is that a level of management that we want? Because on face value that might look good, but it may be exceeding expectations, it may not be delivering to expectations. So it would be good to get some feedback about, is the report giving us enough information to be satisfied that we're delivering? I wondered whether or not we wanted to capture the state highway work program in here too. Now, technically that's not our purview, we're not paying for it, but it's in our district and it's a significant part of our network. And would our customers like visibility of what vehicle work program is, even if it's just a FYI report in the agenda? Just for Councillor Ford, there's a very good paragraph on page 33, which tells you that under the New Zealand guidelines for temporary traffic management, a new traffic management plan has been submitted for approval, and once approved, they will take the new risk assessment approach to working on our network and temporary traffic management. So just some feedback, because I tend to find what happens is we get these reports and we critique them, but we don't have identified actions moving forward about how we can improve them. And I think twofold, I think it's with Tanya and her team and Brian and guys to hear us, but it's also going to sit largely in the working group if we do like a new contract. What is practicable to report back on? I don't want guys spending all day writing reports. We actually want them out there and doing work. So what is practicable to report back on and with a level of elected member governance comes back? I'd just like to close by saying I would expect to see improvements on the network. We forget, I think, sometimes that we had 11 weather bombs. Huge disruption to our network. So for 22, 23 and the last one, 24, we've been an emergency works and reinstatement of our network. A large part of that work is now done and we're now in construction season, so it would be expected that we're starting to get favourable coming through. I don't know how we capture all that, Guy, Tanya. I leave that with you and Rob, but perhaps we do need to have a sit down at some point outside of a formal meeting and with the contractors who supply these reports and say, how can we beef them up?
Mr. Chair, just a couple of things. In the workshop after this meeting, the agenda, we've got a transport update. Last month I showed the workshop a number of different reports that to get your view on whether you felt that they were appropriate or not. So we can, I'll give you an update. We'll have an update on slips on all the culvert programs. Maybe it's not appropriate to have, maybe you want something more formal in the meeting, so we should talk about that as well. So we can talk a little bit more about that in the workshop if you like.
Hey, did you want to touch on spraying?
Spraying, yeah, what would you like to know?
Councillor Foy asked about spraying.
Oh, sorry, I must have missed the question.
Yes, sorry, I just asked, how come we don't spray after they've done the vegetation clearance? Why? And how is that part of the contract or not? Because like, what's the point of doing all that vegetation clearance and then not doing the spray straight after so that we have that vegetation cleared for many months? Like, what's the methodology we have in our contract?
Spraying is an audit work, and the NTA removed 2 spray programs per year, was my understanding. We're putting those spray programs back in place. It's a fundamental part of vegetation control, but also as a prelude to our water table clearing program.
Sorry, you're saying the NTA removed the spraying without telling us?
No, it's an audit. An audit work, so they chose not to pay for the original contract indicated that my understanding is that there would be 4 spray rounds per year. My understanding is that the NTA reduced that to 2 spray rounds per year. We're now going back to we've revised that, and we'll probably go back to 4, but we will definitely be spraying on a more program basis.
Councillor McNally.
Yeah, as far as additional reporting, I don't need more reading. I'd prefer to just have the people in the room to have a chat to us. It's good to have Warren there if he's still there from Fulton Hogan up north. And, you know, if he wanted to have a chat about where he sees improvements needed, whether it's reporting or just our communication with him, that'd be handy. But yeah, I certainly don't want any more reports. And but people in the room would be, or at least online, so we can ask some questions, would be better from my perspective.
So just through the chair, we have invited each of the contractors to, from next month on, to attend the workshop for 20 minutes or so each, so that they will have a slot where councillors can, in a slightly less formal environment, ask questions and clarify the report. So that will start from next month.
Thank you for that. Give me a check for
Just to double check where Heaty Bridge has got it to in closing.
I could defer to Laura, please.
The Heaty Bridge is Heaty Bridge 06. There's actually 2 bridges at Heaty. So Heaty Bridge 06 is just about completed construction. So they've replaced the deck. Would you like to know about Bridge 07 as well?
Sorry, I want to know about the bridge that we had to build a temporary and it was going to close off the whole, you know, peninsula. So we built a temporary.
Yes, so we've done a temporary bridge structure that's currently in use adjacent to the existing bridge. That temporary bridge is currently in use.
And how long before the actual one is finished?
It should be completed in within about a month.
Okay.
Yeah, there is another bridge approximately 300 metres away that may need the same treatment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Thank you for that. And nothing further. Baker.
all those in favour say aye. Those opposed, abstentions, that's carried. I'll now resolve to exclude public for item 7.1, our confirmation of previous minutes, 7.2, our bridge inspection and asset management contract approval for SP2 and SP3, and our exclude open resolutions. Second for that.
Yep.
Thank you, Deputy Administrator. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed or abstentions? That is carried. We'll have a 5-minute break and Airport Park.
I think-